When you finally make the decision to move from one house to another, all of the timelines and all of the stresses start to flood your mind. How am I going to be able to sell my current house and move into my next one and have all of the timelines line up perfectly? To be honest, it's really uncommon to have that perfect timeline. It's really hard to align all the timelines to sell your house and close on it and then be able to move immediately right into your next home after you close on the first one. And this makes the whole process a huge hassle. You end up having to find some temporary housing, whether that's through an Airbnb or a short-term rental somehow, and it requires a lot of moving in between places. And this whole process becomes even more difficult when you're looking for moving out of state to the Dallas, Texas metro. Well, in today's episode, we're gonna dive into this problem a little bit further, and I'm gonna give you a secret on how to make sure everything lines up perfectly so you only have to move one time. What's up, everybody? My name is Michael Caraway. I'm a realtor here in the Dallas, Texas metro, and on this channel, we talk about what it's like to live in Dallas, as well as some of the best places to live, so you can find out once and for all if Dallas is a good fit for you. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any tips and tricks to living in Dallas, Texas. So chances are, if you're moving to Dallas, Texas, whether you live here already or you're moving from out of state, you likely have a house to sell first. You likely have to sell that house because either you need money for your down payment or you need your debt to income ratio to reduce. A lot of people cannot qualify for 2 mortgages at once. And that's completely understandable. It's really hard to be able to afford 2 mortgages at once. The problem with that is that aligning the timeline of selling your house with the timeline of buying your house is really difficult to do. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. And often it just doesn't work out perfectly. But luckily there is a solution that I'm starting to see a lot of people use, and it's something that is really causing a lot of relief in an otherwise really stressful position to be in. Now, I'm gonna preface this whole thing by saying that I've only used this service a handful of times, but when I have used it, it does go pretty smoothly and makes the lives of my clients a lot easier. So after this video, if you think this is a potential solution for you, then reach out. I'll tell you what the name of the program is and give you all of the details. But for now, I wanna go through a high level of how this whole thing works to make your life easier when you need to move from one house to another. So the overarching categories of these services are called buy before you sell programs. These programs allow you to find the home that you wanna move in, reserve it, move into it, and then list your home for sale. That way, it's a completely smooth transition for you. There's not any timelines that need to line up other than you just getting to the place that you need to be and then deciding to list your home afterwards. So if you're worried about that process of transitioning from where you are currently to where you need to be, this is going to be an amazing solution for you. So how does this actually work? What are the details around this program? What is the step-by-step process of doing all of this, and are there costs associated? Well, we're gonna dive into that now. The first step, just like any process for buying a home, is to get pre-approved. You actually get pre-approved directly from Homeward. They're looking at your debt to income ratio, all of your incomes, all the liabilities that you have on your books. They're also gonna be looking at the home that you currently own, and they're going to be evaluating the house and seeing how much it actually is worth, and then using all of that data to then come up with a number for the amount that you can go ahead and purchase your next home with. So once you have that number for what they're realistically gonna be able to afford to give you for that next house, then you can go out and start shopping. And the next step is to go find your home. This is literally copy paste the same exact process if you were just to work with a normal real estate agent, and you go and find that house for you. But once you actually find that house, this is where the process starts to become a little bit different than a typical real estate transaction. Rather than writing an offer on your behalf, we're actually writing an offer for Homeward to go buy your house. Homeward actually writes an all-cash offer to go acquire the house that you want. This is actually really advantageous because all-cash offers tend to be more lucrative to sellers. So you're probably wondering, why is Homeward buying the house and not me? Well, this is how it all works. Homeward acquires the property and then allows you to live in it until you sell your old house. And so we write that all-cash offer on behalf of Homeward to the seller, and if it gets accepted, then we move on to the due diligence period. And this is just like any other transaction, only Homeward's also involved in it. Homeward is going to require that an appraisal is done and that an inspection is done, which are things that should be done no matter what. Once all these inspections and appraisals are done and we've passed all the criteria for the property that Homeward requires, then we can move on to closing on the property, which leads to the next step, which is moving into your home. As soon as the property is closed on, then you are able to move into the house. Now, Homeward lets you live in the house for up to 6 months while you're trying to sell your other house. All that's required in return for you living in the house while Homeward owns it is that you pay for all the carrying costs for the home. Things like property taxes, insurance, things like that. Now, once you do move in, Homeward requires that you list your old home within 2 weeks of moving. Homeward wants to get their money back as soon as possible, so that's why they set that timeline, and honestly, that's good for you as well. It makes things come to fruition a little bit faster. So that next step is to actually sell your existing home. Just like any typical listing, you hire a real estate agent, they list it on the market, and the goal is to ultimately sell it as fast as possible. Once your existing home is under contract and closes, then you start the process of buying your new home back from Homeward. This is where you go and you secure just a normal mortgage. You can use Homeward Mortgage or you can use any other lender. You go through the process of doing an appraisal. They make sure everything looks good on your financial side. And if everything looks good, then you close on the house and the home is yours. So you can see why this is like a no-brainer for a lot of people. This makes the whole process of moving from one home to another really seamless and really easy. But obviously that comes at a cost. And that is the major downfall about this program, is that there's going to be a cost for the convenience. But honestly, I'm finding a lot of people are okay with that because it does make it so much less stressful. Now, for Homeward specifically, at the time of recording of this video, the program fee can be as low as 1.9% of the purchase price for the new property. Now, for example, if you were buying a $750,000 property, then the program fee would cost about $14,250. So yes, there is a steep price to this. Honestly, it's probably worth the convenience. And because it is an all cash offer that you're able to go to sellers with, it gives you a higher chance of getting that dream home that you're looking for. So there's definitely pros and cons, and there's way more details to go over if this is something you're seriously considering. So if you want to explore this more, then reach out to me right now. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email anytime. Seriously, I'm here to help you find the perfect place to call home here in the Dallas, Texas metro. Until next time, I'll see you later.